We've got Sadaf Jadran. She is a strategy consultant, innovator, and entrepreneur. So I'm looking forward to this as well. So far, all the speakers have been outstanding. This is great. Do you want the handheld or?
No. I actually wore heels so that I can reach this, but it's adjustable. So that was, you live and learn. That was probably the first person that's ever pronounced my name properly, the surname. So well done. Well done. Okay, I know that we've got morning tea straight after this, so the good news is you've got that, but the bad news is you need to sit through one more of these. The last two speakers are obviously incredible contributors in this space, so it's going to be pretty hard to follow up on what they've just delivered, but here we go. So yes, my name is Sadaf Jadran. I am the founder of Jadran Consulting. I think usually people ask, what do consultants do? And it's the reason we can't explain it is because it's a lot. I founded Jadran Consulting, and basically what we do is we consult startups on every facet of their business from the ground up. So that includes everything from marketing and sales all the way through to mobilization of teams and eventually handoffs. I spent 10 years in corporate finance at Westpac, good old Westpac, love my time there. Multiple roles, everything from product development, product management, business management, you name it. And funnily enough, I stumbled across XRP in 2017 at the bank. I remember vividly a colleague of mine coming up to me, tapping me on the shoulder and saying, you need to buy this thing called, I felt like we were committing a crime, to be honest, but he said, you need to buy this coin called XRP and you can't ask me any questions. And I thought, why not? I bought the coin, and it was the beginning of when I started to actually plan my retirement, because I saw this thing run, and then I also did what everybody else has experienced, which is I saw my bags dump. And I call that the crypto baptism. You need to lose before you start making money, so don't be afraid. But what it did do is it sparked a different fuel in me to start exploring this space on a deeper level. In 2018, I started my consulting agency, and I actually moved to Silicon Valley, where I was consulting tech startups primarily focused on ed tech and aggregation. So what we see is aggregation models. We see everybody trying to aggregate their user experiences, so very similar to what Netflix did for movies and what Spotify did for music. Businesses were starting to do that for their internal applications. So what they wanted to do was create a unified discovery platform where users also had a personalized experience. Unfortunately, 2020, COVID hit. I had to rebase back in Australia, but that was when I started consulting only crypto tech startups, and the rest is history. But from there, I started consulting. The niche in this market was marketing. Unfortunately, what I did see with a lot of the companies that I was consulting was a high turnover in CMO roles. And that's because we can't exactly retrofit Web 2 marketing into Web 3. It's a little different. We're going to go into that today. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the sorry, I did ask about this. I'll start off with the evolution. So basically from Web 1 all the way through to Web 3, and what the difference is, where we are now and how we can change this. Alrighty, so the beginning. So Web 1, a very static experience. You had static web pages. It's almost like your brochures, but they were online. Users could read, but you couldn't respond. And what we saw was a one-way street. It was very bland, but we saw Yahoo actually emerge as the GOAT in this space. And what they did was they organized all that chaos on the web into one directory. So in this phase, marketing was only about just presence and the visibility. Web 2 is when we saw the start of the read and write web. So this is where you were seeing the beginning of interaction and engagement, and we saw the creator economy finally blossom. So we saw, and this lasted from about 2005 to 2020, and we all experienced it during COVID with TikTok. What a time. We saw basically an era that was defined by your YouTubes, your blogs, your videos. That was the stuff that was really working. And we started to see the feedback loops. However, there was something missing, and that's where Web3 kind of came in. So Web3, also known as the era of decentralization and empowerment. So this is basically where we were promised a decentralized internet, or where we are actually, and where power and ownership was returned back to us, the users. So through blockchain, we also get some of that privacy and transparency that everyone's so keen about. We're finally obtaining all of that. And I think we had enough of just being, almost eroding under your big tech giants. Everybody wanted a piece of their privacy back. So the cultural shift was towards a very open, transparent, and user-empowered web, which is what we're seeing today. I wanted to put this in here because I wanted to highlight that the industry isn't small. We've got significant amounts of money coming in. So this is from Crunchbase. So the total funding for Web3 at the moment is sitting at about 92 billion, not much, right? And we've got over 23,000 projects or companies that have been founded. So what's the difference between the marketing in Web 2 and Web 3? Oh, I didn't realize it was down here. Makes it easier. So gone are the days where CEOs can be so far removed from their end users and rely on things like ads to finally target their audience. So what we were doing in Web 2, where we were creating products and pushing it to mass market by broad targeting campaigns and just hoping that it would stick somewhere. That doesn't work anymore. And the reason that doesn't work anymore, we've seen how it doesn't work. I mean, we recently saw Chanel embarking on tokenizing, their products. And they started a Twitter space, and they have millions of followers, and they had 13 people present on that space. And that really highlights that it's the users now that are demanding the direct updates. It's the users that you need to be communicating with it's almost on a daily basis. Web3 demands direct interaction. And what we receive in Web 2, probably once a year, we'd get an annual email from a CEO just talking about the profit and loss. That doesn't work anymore. You either need to roll up your sleeves and get down in the details, or you're going to lose your end users. I'm actually going to highlight, I've worked with multiple projects. I'm currently working with about 40. I've had the pleasure of working with good old Dirk at the back over there, with an X-Vector. I have never seen somebody who's actually rolled up their sleeves the way he has. And he did it at a time where it was FTX. We had the FTX collapse, and this guy was adamant. And I said, let's just wait it out. Let's see what happens, and then we'll push all our strategy. And he didn't. He wanted to push, and we have a running joke internally now. And no matter how flawless you create a campaign for Dirk, his tagline is, do better and do it now. So that's the tagline we use internally now. But we have to go back to the drawing board. So Web3, it's not just about broadcasting, because that's what we were doing. We were just creating campaigns that were almost like microphones, and we were just hoping that somebody would hear it and somebody would join your product. It doesn't work. You need to actually get down in the detail. Your users drive your roadmaps. Your users also drive your back-end, your development backlogs. That user feedback loop is critical, and people need to start taking that seriously. So, my favorite topic, Twitter. Twitter is now the top of your marketing funnel, and all the other Web3 social apps, so your Discords, your Telegrams, are where you want to funnel your audience and then have your deeper conversations. Short form content works extremely well at the top of the funnel. You can keep your long form for the end of the funnel. Now, I'm going to talk about Twitter primarily because Web3 obviously exists on Twitter, and that's where you're going to find your audience. But whether you're a creator or a project, what I want you to focus on is creating a plan that targets your users, but you want to do it on a very personal level. And when I say personal, I mean the CEO literally needs to get onto the Discord channel, the Telegram channel, at least once a week, check in. You need to give them updates. You need to keep them abreast of all that's happening on your project. Your stakeholders in Web3 are almost like your shareholders. They've got vested interest in this and they want updates. The problem with Twitter is, and Web3 is probably the only industry where you can see a meme coin trader who made a successful trade overnight somehow become a consultant overnight or an advisor. Marketing actually has a triangle which we call the marketing triangle, and what that consists of is your product knowledge, your strategic knowledge, and then your business acumen. And the reason we see CMOs, a high turnover in CMOs is because we don't have that natural fit. We have a lot of CMOs from Web 2 coming into Web 3 and hoping that mass ad campaigns are going to work, and it's not. What I don't want people also focusing on, unfortunately on Twitter, it's quite gamified and there are loopholes and there's a lot of botting. Elon did make the code public for us in, what was last year actually, but before this code was public, there were things which are, I mean, people aren't even taking advantage of it now. But what we want to do is we want to create an organic audience. It takes a little bit more time, but it works. And once it works and you move up that algorithm, after that, you could post a hello and it will go viral. But you need to be consistent. What we also see with the influx of bots on Twitter, unfortunately, and a lot of projects who opt to actually use guerrilla marketing tactics like that is you get an influx of followers. Yes, it's great, but when those followers also drop off after Twitter's done a data wash, you also get deboosted, you get flagged, you get shadow banned, and those things are extremely difficult to get out of. Creating content that serves your community, creating a community where you have direct engagement and you're fostering a community that actually wants to contribute, you're listening to their feedback, and you're also updating them in real time because they demand direct updates is what's going to get you there. And when you get to, let's say, 100 organic followers, and we're not using bots, those organic followers essentially become your automated marketing engines. You will never need to pay an influencer. You will never need to pay an agency or growth hackers. You can do this yourself. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that there is a plan, there's a content strategy. We suggest at least three posts per day. But you can do one. You can do one as long as it's meaningful, but you need to make sure that you're delivering a message that's valuable to your community. For devs, what I always recommend is weekly updates and so Twitter has beta that people need to be keeping an eye on. Those things at the moment, so the things that get you the most traction are videos, Twitter Spaces, which Web3 are very well versed in, and live streaming, which is new. So even here, if you're a project that's currently here or you're a creator who wants to grow their platform, start live streaming. Start live streaming with some of the speakers that are here that your audience may like to interact with, or upload videos. Even if you convert your content, so your graphics, into 3-second videos, you're tricking the algorithm into thinking that you've posted a video. We know that Elon is looking to actually expand this into an everything app, with videos also being monetized. That's what we need to be doing. You need to make sure that you're using the platform to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. The other thing I want you to focus on is create content where you are encouraging dialogue from your end user. So whether you're asking questions to encourage comments, don't focus on the likes and the retweets. So whether you're a creator or a project, focus on actually getting people to contribute. That's what pushes you up the algorithm. Unfortunately, with the rise of ChatGPT, we see a lot of content that is a generic spit out of AI. We're seeing a lot of things like exciting news and big news, or we're thrilled to announce. Everything starts to look the same. Twitter actually flags your content as spam when it starts to look the same, and because we've seen an influx of that across multiple projects and creators, everybody is getting flagged without even noticing it. And if you do a little data wash of your stats, you'll see that you aren't performing as well if you're using AI. You need to be curating this content yourself. So, you know, I'll give you a little story. In my teen years, I was trying to remove some unwanted facial hair, but this is before waxing and lasering and all of that stuff. And I started to bleach the hair on my face. And my brother said to me, and this still sticks with me, he said to me, Sadaf, the color was never the problem. And that is the situation with content today. It's not your grammar or the vocab. It is literally the actual content. People need to spend some more time creating content that's meaningful, creative content that encourages dialogue from your community, and creating content that also brings together the end users that you're looking for. So I wanted to wrap this up with a few other points, but does that make sense to everybody? How marketing works in Web3? It's not your traditional marketing. And what I want people to do is don't fall for your traditional marketing agencies who are looking to push very standard practices. Do it from the heart. Do it from the heart. Get your projects even if you have a significant amount of work that's already been prepared and you're not looking at development in the next few months, drip feed your audience. You can drip feed the messaging. All they want to know is that the builders are building, the project's in action, and things are happening in this space. The audience is us, and all we want is real-time updates, and we want real updates. So don't put pressure on yourself. Just make sure that the communication method is clear and that the community feedback is taken on board. So that's it for me today, and I just want to wrap this up with saying Deaton for Senate. Thank you.